right, family. Glad to be back with you on this Tuesday. I hope you've been having a fantastic week. Um, Liberty, I seen you join for a second, but I don't know if you're gone now. But yeah. So it's funny. TikTok be sending me these. They always doing some sort of challenge for creators or blah 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 whatever. So they sent me one today, and in an effort to try to get people to join the live. I don't know. You do see me? Because I'm looking at my TikTok. It's still showing whoever I was. All right. Yo, what is that music? Do you hear that music? No, I don't know what that is. Hold on, I gotta come back to TikTok. They got some wildness playing in the background. My stuff been looking a little delayed. Okay, you did hear that music. I don't know where that music was coming from. Okay, now I get some of it. It's my feedback, but I don't. That wasn't my video. Not to say that I don't listen to music like that, but yeah, that wasn't my video. But back to what I was saying. So TikTok was saying, to be a part of this, it was suggesting something that I probably should have been doing. You know what I mean? But it was like, to get some hearts or whatever, or roses. I don't know, trying to get people to send you hearts or whatever. Um, okay, perfect. So they were like, introduce yourself and tell what you're doing and tell her how they could participate. And I was like, you know what? That is a good idea. I should do that every show. So at least if we get some new people, they know who we are and how they can join us and participate, right? So, I always throw it in at the end and not at the beginning, but I should do it at the beginning too. So, of course, I am Soul Swami, Anthony Howell, better known as Soul Swami. And we are here working together, building the soul family, working on our own healing, because healing is a communal process. So we're doing that with discussions, interviews, and resources, So we actually have people to join us and have live energy readings, or we discuss energy readings. And like now, if you're joining now, our topic is about emotional intelligence, and specifically tools for forgiveness and some other connections. So if you want to participate, it should be a link somewhere in the chat, depending on where you are viewing from. I don't know why it doesn't like to show up on TikTok, but I need to send that link to you, Liberty. So when you join on TikTok, you just pop it and paste it in there. But there's a link you could join if you want to have an interview. But if not, make sure you hit that screen, hit that love, send hearts, roses, all those good things. The Flow family appreciates you. We value you, and join us in this healing process with Soul Swami and the game. So this week we are, I said, we're working on emotional intelligence, and thank you. I appreciate you, that Liberty. Liberty is one of the Soul family, so she helps me out. She actually is a moderator on something. I don't know. YouTube. You a moderator, and maybe Facebook. I need to make you a moderator because your schedule changed, so I need to update that where you can moderate on everything that you want, even TikTok, the face box. Yeah, I still call it that. But we are on emotional intelligence. Like I said, we're talking about how it connects to our tools for forgiveness and specifically our apology language. And we might take a little bit of time and get into how we manage anger, because all of that ties into how we forgive, right? So we are on our crown chakra. That's why the lighting is purple. We try to do a little light therapy. So we use the lights to match the color of the chakra that we're dealing with. And the crown is purple, violet, whatever you like to say. And it is the element for the crown is thought, and it is very good for your consciousness, your spiritual connection, and how you can tap into your sacred knowledge, this knowledge of the universe. You know what I mean? Your history of your ancestors, all those good things. So, we're gonna do our bowl, but I'm talking a little trash first. So, I got me some new glasses, and I'm so excited about them. That's why I wore this color because the glasses kind of matching, but you can't see it with this purple. So I'm gonna wait till we shift cameras, and then I'm gonna start talking randomly like we generally do. Liberty, we're gonna do an apology language test tonight, so join us. We start with our bowl, then we do a breathing exercise, and then we do some visualization. I seen someone call 444 breathing exercise box breathing. I had never heard of that, but I'm sure somewhere they call it box breathing, which was very new. So, what you want to do, Liberty? Box breathe. Excuse me. I'm a little gassy. Forgive me, family. Forgive me. Oh, Lord. We hadn't done dragon breaths in a while. Wow. I think I need you on here. All right, we can do. How many dragon breaths do you want to do? Let's figure that out. Participate, cause we hadn't done. Dang, we ain't done dragon breaths in I don't even know how long. So while you think about it, I'm gonna do the bowl. Mm. Yeah, I ain't tell you I was a little late because literally the lights came at 6:30, so it does seem a little bit brighter in here. But I'm since I'm playing around a little bit, I'm gonna show you the difference because they big as shit. I mean, excuse me, they big. Well, they are actually soft boxes. So, but I got 27, 28 inch soft boxes. But yeah, well, that's them both on red. Let's see. This the regular light. So they got some stuff going on. I guess they changed colors. They got some strobe light effect going on, which is way too much. Mess around, give somebody a seizure. But got a little transition thing. Yeah, it is, especially with the front camera. And I adjusted my white light, but you really can't tell the difference from the side. But I'm thankful for it. Dragon breaths. So, if this is your first time joining us, occasionally we do a breathing exercise called dragon breath. And for the most part, it is essentially a deep breath. And when you breathe out like you are breathing from the bellows of your belly. Like, whoa. Sort of kind of like a growl, like a dragon would. That hard breath. So you take in a deep breath and you breathe out a nice little hard breath. We're going to do 5 dragon breaths. I will keep the count for you and provide you with the directions on when to breathe in and when to breathe out. So on my count of 3, you will breathe in 1, 2, 3. Breathe in, deep breath, deep breath, deep breath, deep breath. Now breathe out, deep, deep, deep breath. Growl, release, frustration. 1, 2, 3. Breathe in, deep breath, deep breath, deep breath. Woo. And breathe out again. Growl, a deep belly breathe out. Push the air. Use your diaphragm and push the air out as you breathe out. Second time, 1. Third time, 2, 3. Breathe in. Deep breath, dragon breath out. Fourth time, breathe in. Deep breath, dragon breath out. Last time, breathe in. Deep breath, and dragon breath out. Diaphragm push. Hopefully that allowed you to push out some frustration, some anger. And with our visualization today, we are going to focus deeply and dearly on our thoughts. And if you have the tendency to overthink, if you have the tendency to get stuck in a thought pattern, I want you to put your hands on your forehead, on the side where you can cover your temples. And I want you to use your energy to heal your thoughts. Ask yourself to provide clarity. Ask yourself to provide thoughts of happiness. Ask yourself to provide thoughts of courage, consistency, stability, abundance. Ask yourself to give you all of these energies. And as they fill your mind, I want you to allow those positive thoughts, that positive energy, all of those things to travel down through all parts of your body to your throat, down to your heart, down to your solar plexus, your sacral, and your root and back up. And stand there and enjoy the cycle of exchange as you utilize the energy inside of you to clear your thoughts. And as you clear your thoughts, I want you to say these affirmations with me and include them in the energy that you are obtaining for yourself, right? I am divine. I am connected to the universe. I am at peace. I am a spiritual being. I release doubt and welcome faith. I am divine. I am connected to the universe. I am at peace. I am a spiritual being, and I release doubt and welcome faith. Well, thanks, Liberty. We made it to whatever the contest is. We on level 1 now. Well, we made it past level 1 or whatever that means. Eee, we passed it. Whoop, 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 whoop. TikTok. We in the house. We winning something. All right, so that is the end of our beginning, and now we get started on the talk. So, I'm gonna need my keyboard tonight, so because we are going to do. I hope you have some time, because I would like you to do the test with me. Right. So, we always talk about. Well, we don't always talk about, but I mentioned a pivotal part of my healing, which is the men's group. Oh yeah, wait a minute. Here go my glasses too. I'm so excited about it too. Unfortunately, these my first pair of multifocal. So I like the navy, and then they go into a little rose, which is why I was gonna wear this shirt with it, so I could match my horse. Blah blah blah. But I love my glasses right now. I can see clearly now. The rain is gone. All that. Life is good. Because it'd be wild, because my old glasses were set up to my old prescription. So when I take my contacts off, I still couldn't see nothing, girl. Oh, I ain't even supposed to have them on red. They're supposed to be on purple. Boo-doo-doo. That's the problem. Bam. Okay, so excuse me. But in the men's group, we had a conversation, right? And it made me come to a certain realization. And a lot of our healing, we phrase it in a way of we are building new relationships with certain words, like triggering words. You know what I mean? So we've built new relationships with masculinity. We build new relationships with femininity. We build new relationship with safety. We'll be working on our relationships with forgiveness, healing, all types of relationships, right? But one word that wound up coming up in men's group that I didn't really realize is a word that we need to build a relationship with is this idea of timing, right? And when we discuss this idea of timing, we talked about it in a way that we recognize that each of these words that we discuss have a masculine energy and a feminine energy. So when we discuss timing, we talked about it in two different ways, in the masculine energy and the feminine energy. And it was very, very interesting because the way we discussed timing as a masculine energy was more based on structure and routine. You know what I mean? So You move here, this happens there. You move there, that happens there. And in the and in the feminine sense of the word of timing, we spoke about it in allowing, in the nurturing sense, allowing the universe to do what it does, allowing things to happen when they're supposed to happen, right? So there's a certain amount of faith with that, right? And in that realization, but in that conversation, I never really looked at the word timing as a masculine and feminine, right? So timing was one of those words that was kind of like hope for me, right? And what I'm about to say still has a certain level of truth to it, but we're expanding our thinking and adding new tools to our repertoire, which essentially is new perspectives, right? So when we face these triggers, like we talked about last week, peace is not the absence of conflict. It's having the right tools to navigate the conflict, right? So when we talked about timing in the feminine, it was like one of those words that like help, hope. And I always thought of timing as a cop out. And people still use it as a cop out because many people will use it like, I guess it just wasn't the right time, or or it's not the right time. And I feel like if it's happening, it's the right time. How do you not know it's the right time? So essentially, in that space, there was a clear disconnect in the masculine and feminine energy within myself, right? Because I didn't move, I moved too much on the structure and routine, and I couldn't really see the value of allowing timing to happen. Like, see the value of a space with timing, right? And it was funny because coming to that realization, I had to look at my life is that I have the understanding of the importance of timing, right? Because you got to start your plan at the right time. But when it came to initiating the plan or actually taking the steps to walk the plan, I feel like you make things happen, right? And when people would say things like the timing wasn't right, it would trigger me. It was a triggering word, which was very interesting because I don't like copping out. I had this thing about quitting. I remember I quit one time. I did my quitting in high school. I ain't quit nothing there since then. So I have this thing about quitting, and I don't like using things like timing as a cop out for real actions that you need to take for yourself, right? But confining that perspective to such a box, I didn't see the value of the feminine energy of timing that actually just allows things to happen, allowing the universe to work in your favor. And even though I would be able to do it on a small scale, like this show or what we're doing with healing, I say this on a small scale, even though it's not quite a small scale. I never really applied that process. I always took it to structure and routine, but I never really applied the process, even the process that what we're doing together as a timing thing, right? And I say this because I think we are one, it's a new word that we really do have to think about our relationship with timing and how we navigate timing and how we consciously and intentionally shift between the masculine timing, the structure and routine, and to the feminine side of timing to allowing the universe and the work that you've done to produce the fruit of your labor, right? So that means that's a space where you can calm down and allow yourself the seeds that you planted to grow. So essentially, by just moving in that masculine energy of the word timing, just burn yourself out. Everything is structure and routine. You can burn yourself out. That's a burden to carry, right? So that kind of leads into this idea of I was talking to one of the soul family, and they asked me. Well, they didn't quite ask me, right? We were just having a discussion on healing, and we got around to forgiving yourself, right? You know, you make some mistakes, and if depending on how big the mistake is, it makes it a little harder to forgive yourself in the sense that I don't mean that you always hard on yourself, but that's one way that you don't forgive yourself. But a major way that we don't allow ourselves to forgiveness is vowing to never make that mistake again. We're vowing putting ourselves in this box of inhumanity and inhumanness, like we're superhero, where we'll never make that mistake again. So then when that mistakes again happens, we don't know what to do. Or we opt out of our own lives and choose solitude because we're so afraid to make these mistakes because we have not forgiven ourselves for making the mistakes, right? So when we're having this conversation, I'm talking to one of the soul family, my friend, about this is an area that they need to give themselves grace in. And then the question came like, what tools would I use to help me forgive? So what forgiveness? What makes up forgiveness? And that was a tough question to answer, right? And I'd say one thing that makes up forgiveness is, like we said, give yourself grace. The space to make the mistake again. Allowing yourself to trust yourself. Don't put so much pressure on yourself, right? But as we think about forgiveness, if we are going to forgive ourselves, a major step that we probably have to do in this healing process is actually value ourselves enough to apologize to us, right? Remember, we're functioning in 4 bodies: the physical body, the mental body, the emotional body, and the spiritual body. So you can take this space to use your physical body, your ego that protects you, where we talked about that conflict between what the spirit wants and what the physical tells you don't do, right? You can use your physical because it's there to protect, and your physical can apologize because one of the things it can do is protect. And that is even emotionally protect you by allowing you to forgive yourself, right? And when we think about forgiveness, um, how do we find these tools, right? It was funny because the same person, I was telling them that tonight we we're going to talk about the forgiveness and the tools, and we're going to take a test. And they said to me, you always like take a test. And at first I was like, no, but now as we're talking about it, it is a sense that I do like taking tests. I don't like taking school tests, right? But I do like taking assessments to see where I stand. If I've grown, have I done anything different? So, like, for example, we talked about the Clifton Strength Finders, and that's where they said it because they used to work with me, and I had my whole staff take the Clifton Strength Finders. We talked about it. That's assessment tools that tell us our strengths. We don't always know, and other people can't always tell, and allow us to focus on that. So when it comes to forgiveness, one thing we need to be able to do is recognize how we apologize so we can apologize to ourselves and get an understanding of how other people apologize so we can also have the tools to apologize to people and things and situations in our lives in a way that they can receive and allow them to exercise forgiveness, right? So, with that being said, the tool we are going to take, we're going to switch gears a little bit. We hadn't done this in a minute, but we are going to, I'm going to do it like, where we at? Old school. I'm going to do a real search. If you got some time, I want you to get your phone, if you're sitting at the computer or something, your tablet, and do a search with me for apology language. Okay, hold on. Let me Do-do-do. All right, so it's simple. There's a lot of tools out there. You don't have to figure out everything on yourself. So one of the things I like, the tools, I've taken so many different tools in my life, but um one tool, like we just use some free tools out here. You don't have to pay for everything. You can find some things that help you put the feelings, your thought processes into words. And I like tools. Yeah, I am learning that that's that what you call, no doubt, what you call the slow pace, that is what I mean by that, allowing the room for things to happen. And it's just a wild concept for me too, because I do it in some aspects, but I still come in the mindset that, yo, you got to make things happen. So I try to make things happen. You know what I mean? Tatiana, is that you on here not saying nothing, girl? You better say hi or something. Jesus Christ. We was talking bad about you. Tap the screen, do something. We was talking bad about you the other day being Liberty. And you said that we need the rest of the soul family start coming in and making comments and stuff. But they got your head up there like you watching, so I hope so. Woo, 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 woo. Let's see. No. Oh, somebody joined on TikTok. TikTok, we appreciate you. Not TikTok, but Instagram. Who is that? So y'all learning a bunch of stuff, that this is what the behind the scenes can look like at times. But so easy. Love Languages store has the simple love languages quiz. They also have an apology language and how well do you manage your anger, free anger assessment. But we want to talk about apology because, oh, you did say, hey, family. I'm just not saying it, so forgive me. I take it back, Tatiana. Because apologies, how we like to be apologized to, how we give apologies, is a major tool on the steps that we need to be able to forgive ourselves. So, with the apology quiz, is basically just a series of questions. And at the end, they will tell you your apology style. And this is me taking the quiz right in front of you all. So, are you taking it with me and being open, honest, and vulnerable about it? So, it's more meaningful to me when I hear someone say, I deeply regret having embarrassed you like I did. Our friendship is really important to me. Will you please forgive me? Me personally, I'd rather you say I deeply regret. That will you please forgive me puts me in this. I don't know. It just makes me feel weird. Like, I'm not your God. You don't have to ask for my forgiveness. You know what I mean? You can ask for my understanding or something like that. You know what I mean? I don't know. It just makes me feel weird. So for that, I'd rather say, it's more meaningful to me when someone says, okay, I admit it. I made a big mistake. I want to, or I want to grow from this experience. Would you be willing to help me figure out steps to handle this type of situation better? Jesus Christ. Listen, um, the second one sounds too much like work. And I want, I'd rather healing to be a little more natural. And I don't mind figuring out steps to help somebody handle the situation, but just admit you made a mistake and let's go from there. You know what I mean? I like accountability. So it's more meaningful when someone tells me, what can I do to make things right between you and me? Or I had a bad attitude and it showed. I should have thought more about what I was doing. Um, Listen, I would rather the first one, because this one actually has action steps behind it, because I do appreciate action steps. And I've experienced where people can recognize that this issue, but that doesn't mean they're going to change. Because I've had somebody where I had a disagreement with somebody recently, and in that disagreement, they apologized for being passive aggressive, right? And then literally in the next communication, they started off with passive aggressiveness. It was passive aggressive that whole time too. So just because somebody can recognize it doesn't mean that they are willing to take the steps to make some changes. So I'd rather you say that. It is more meaningful when someone says, I don't want to do this again. So I will come up with ways to avoid mistakes like this in the future. I don't really like neither one of these, tell you the truth. But I ain't even gonna lie, the second one kind of triggered me. 'Cause I don't like people telling me what to do. So when you say you apologize for my actions, you obviously don't have to forgive me. Stop turning like listen, you don't gotta tell me what I could choose to do with my own brain. And I don't like that. That just gives me a gaslighting feeling like, you know what I mean? You trying to make me feel guilty for something you did wrong, so I wouldn't feel that. But I don't know. I guess I'll take the first one. Then the next one is, can you possibly forgive me? Tatiana, you taking the test too? Or what can I do to mend our relationship? Yeah, I don't know. I gotta go with what can I do to mend our relationship? You know what I mean? And because that's a question that, for real, the way this approach makes it seem like you value it, um, and you really want to keep it in your life. Possibly, like, can you possibly forgive? And this has a sense of, oh, Jesus Christ, now keep my light out. Possibly forgives me has a sense of, mm, like, some power dynamic. It's just weird. Just I don't know. I don't like that either. So next is, I totally messed up. I could make excuses, but really, I have no good excuse for my actions. Or you have every right to hold this against me, but will you please consider forgiving me? I don't like this begging, but I do like this. I like accountability, so I'm gonna go with I totally messed up. I could make excuses, but really, I have no good excuse for my actions. And I prefer that. I kind of apologize like that. I'm like, dang, my bad. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? I might give you some reasons to rationalize. I mean, I might give you some reasons, but I definitely tell you that there's no justification for the wrong. So keep it simple. Don't even give me reasons then. Next, what's more meaningful to me is, I'd like to make things better between us. What can I do to make things right? Or you don't have to answer immediately, but will you consider forgiving me for this mistake? I don't know. The bottom ones just keep giving me this tone of begging. That's what it fits me. You know what I mean? I guess it's, you don't have to. I like that you don't have to answer immediately, because I felt like that recognized the space of my emotions where I might need to process this. You know what I mean? But will you consider forgiving me for making this mistake? Like, that's just, I don't know. That just takes the good. It's like passive aggressiveness to me. Um, so I say I'd like to make things better. What can I do? What else is more meaningful? What is more meaningful? I want to ask you to forgive me. It deeply pains me to see you hurting like this. Um, I actually do like I want to ask you for forgiveness. That's cool. Cause it ain't like, please forgive me, please consider, please, 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 please. It ain't had that begging tone, which is why. What is more meaningful to me? I've really messed up this time. We missed the deadline because of me. All right. Can we back up and let me try to fix this? I really want to mend the damage that I've caused. I like that accountability. And that's funny. It actually, even though it wouldn't make a difference, but it actually put me in a workspace. Then you miss the deadline. Or even in dating sometimes where you have this is one of the reasons I don't like to have reservations for a date for a woman that I'm not dating. Like, so when me and you just meet, like you hear online where they talk about they just want a guy to make a plan and like 7 o'clock meet me there. I don't like to do that. Why? Because when you say 7 o'clock, meet me there, 90% of them are not going to be there at 7 o'clock. So if you actually do set a reservation for 8 o'clock, you got to be picking them up. You like y'all got to be together so y'all can ride together. You can do everything. That's the only way you're gonna guarantee they're gonna be on time. Or if you lucky, you find a woman who thinks that being on time is the same as being late. They are out there, but most of the time, which is funny because they want a lot of people want you to schedule that, but they're gonna be late. So I really like that one. I really messed up this time. We missed the deadline because of me. So acknowledge that whatever you done caused us to miss this time constraint that we were under. I'll still be mad, but that's something that someone can say that'll help me process my anger a little easier. What is more meaningful? we really here just taking a test. This is wild. I am upset with myself over how I handled our disagreement. I cringe when I recall the way I acted. I know that what I've been doing is not helpful. What would you like to see me change that would make this better for you? See I don't know. I like a comment like I know what I've been doing is not helpful. I don't know. I like that one. I'm sorry. I know what I did was wrong, or I'm sorry. I feel terrible that I let you down. Nah, I don't mind a good apology. What is more meaningful? What changes could I put into place so that you might begin to trust me going forward? I hope this won't permanently damage our working relationship. Will you please accept my apology? Yeah, I don't like that. You putting intuition. I mean, forever, man, permanently. Jesus Christ, man, calm down. Yeah, take some action steps so we can rebuild trust. Because even though I think trust should be given. We've had that. With the fact that trust can be given, should be given. I mean, trust can definitely be lost because everybody doesn't necessarily value trust the same way. And losing that trust sometimes gives them the skills that they need to value trust. But if trust can be lost, that also means there's an opportunity to be found again. So trust can be rebuilt. There are action steps that you can take to rebuild trust. I can see my actions cause you pain, and I feel terrible about what I did. Is there anything I can do to repair the damage I've created? I know you see, I'm such a Pisces because it seems like I like both ways. I complain about both ways they say it each time, but there are subtle differences for how it strikes my spirit. You know what? I will have to say this one because I know a question I've asked myself in thinking about if someone has hurt my feelings. I've asked myself occasionally, I wonder if they feel bad about it. You know what I mean? So I guess it mean that will help me a little bit. If I had only thought about what I was doing, I would have realized it was wrong. Or I know that I've caused you a significant amount of trouble. I would greatly appreciate it if you would forgive me. I'm gonna go with the next one. I mean the first one. Now they back on that weird thing and it doesn't even sound, I don't know. It doesn't even sound conversational. Doesn't sound real to me, family. I'm sorry. I just can't I'm not feeling it. I'm not feeling it. Instagram, family. Join us, take the apology quiz, learn more about how you apologize, and we'll discuss as a tool apology and how we apologize, and knowing other apologies are useful tools, specifically for how we're going to forgive ourselves for the mistakes we made by offering ourselves a genuine apology, and then learning ways to be able to apologize to others that we may have wronged in a way that they can receive and allow them to exercise forgiveness. So it is more meaningful to me when I hear someone say, I am truly grieved and sorry for my actions, plus the way they affected you. If I am ever again upset with you, I promise to gather my thoughts and approach you directly and respectfully. I like that. You know what I mean? If you talk to me crazy one time, we can get over it. Just don't do it twice. So I like that exchange a little bit better for me. If you're gonna apologize to me, what is more meaningful to me? I hope that you can find it in your heart to forgive me. You know I don't like that. That gives me passive aggressive. I simply should not have done that. I like that better. Just get to it. I hope you can find it in your heart to forgive me. That's like, I don't know. I feel like that's kind of gaslighting, trying to emotionally manipulate me. Like I don't already have a heart of forgiveness and I'm going to have to find my heart. I feel like if you saying this to somebody, you already know that they already forgive. So that's trying to make them feel a little bad. So keep it simple for me. I simply should not have done that. Now, if you feel different, let me know, family. If you taking the test, what did you put? How different is yours? What is more meaningful? I realize that talk is cheap. I work to show you that I'm changing. Or is there anything I can do to make up for what I did? Right. So I like the accountability of I realize talk is cheap. And then that I'll work to show you what I'm changing. I don't know. I feel about that because if you don't know what to change, then that's crazy. So I like let's have a conversation about what can we do. Because as a matter of fact, that's what brought us to this conversation. Somebody asked me, like, well, how are you supposed to forgive? Okay. I don't know. And I've had people ask me, like, well, what can I do to make this better? And you're like, you know what? I don't know. Because people don't really ask that. So it's a wild space. So I'd like that as an apology a little bit better. I am really embarrassed about my behavior and I'm so sorry. No if, ands, or buts. I admit that I was wrong. You know I'm gonna pick the simple one. You learning a simple. There's a kind of pattern in my choices, and it's starting to get a little clear. But let's get to it. I apologize. Will you please forgive me? Or going forward, I will manage my time and prioritize my schedule so I won't have the same difficulties. That second one sounds like bull. To me, it sounds like someone who already knows they have an issue with managing their time and they haven't worked on it at all. You know what I mean? I will manage my time and prioritize my schedule. You mean you not already doing that with your life? You are doing that with your life. So whatever you didn't show up to is because you didn't prioritize it. So I'd rather just apologize. Ask me, can I forgive you? Or is there something I can do to fix it? What is more meaningful to me? I want so badly to avoid this type of error again. Let's talk about what I can do in the future to follow through on my commitments. Or I don't feel right just saying my bad. I want to make up for what I've done. What would you consider appropriate? I like this one because that seems a little more conversational. You know what I mean? Generally, some people like. As a matter of fact, it's a song that I like. It's a house song, and this dude say he had a feeling that she called just to say you sorry, but instead she just said my mistake. Right? So plenty of people like my bad. And I'm not so rigid in my apology method that you have to say I apologize. You know, I accept my bad. So I like my bad. It's accountability. And then you value it because you want to make up for what you done. And then we can have a discussion about what can be done to change that. So and even that somebody apologizing to me, we're learning these tools. So first, the first person we need to forgive is who? Ourselves. So as we're learning this, I'm learning how I need to apologize to myself, to first forgive myself, right? What is more meaningful when someone tells me? I know that my actions were totally unacceptable. I own that. Or it stresses me out to know that you had to stand there waiting on me I regret the frustration and worry that I caused you. I don't know. I just like keep it simple. All that other stuff, man, that just still sounds like a person that knows that they're an issue. And it's as a matter of fact, it puts me in this mindset. So, we talked about me being a teacher. And if you a teacher, you an educator, especially if you work with this age group with kids under 5. One of the main things we teach them is I'm sorry. So that's a part of empathy, the empathize, because kids can be wild. They'll hit another kid in the head with a block and walk off like it didn't happen. So we teaching them empathy, right? So it winds up getting wild because we also got to teach them a certain level of accountability that comes with empathy, right? So when we start teaching them empathy, these kids learn it, right? But they use it as a weapon. So, for example, kid hit another kid in the head with a block. Kid hit in the head with the block starts crying. Kid through the block will say, I'm sorry, right? That's how it's supposed to go when you genuinely feel it. But the kid that said I'm sorry will also be like, well, stop crying because I said I'm sorry. That's the feeling what they put me in. Well, I said I'm sorry, so you're not supposed to feel it no more. That's the vibe it puts me in. So when I was in the classroom, we took it to another level, and we used to teach the kids that I'm sorry just lets people know how you feel. It doesn't take away the pain that they feel. They still need space and time and opportunity to be able to process this. You just gave them one ingredient to help them exercise forgiveness. So, what is more meaningful when someone says, I know that I've inconvenienced you. What can I do for you that could help balance things out? Or I am unhappy with how I hurt you. I'm enormously disappointed in myself. You don't got to be all that. Keep it simple. I don't need you to be enormously disappointed. Like, I don't want you to be beating yourself too bad about it. I do want you to beat yourself a little bit, though. That's genuine. Like, listen, I don't want you to act like, well, I apologize. So, like, oh, my bad, family. Who's seeing who joined? Um, I don't want you to be like, well, I apologize so we can move on, Definitely give us some time and let's grow with that. So, it is more meaningful to me when I hear, what can I do to make this situation right for you immediately? Or it may take some time to rebuild your trust in me. Meanwhile, I'll be working hard on changes to prove that I'm trustworthy. As funny as it is, normally I wouldn't have picked this one, but compared to the first one, I'm going to pick the second one because immediately doesn't allow any space for you to process. I may not have an immediate answer. I may not be in a situation where someone has asked me, what can I do to make you feel better about the pain I caused? If you think about your own life, how many times have you been in that situation? Not that many. So when that question have, the assumption is that you might have the answer. But what do we learn through Soul Family? The questions can be simple, but the answers can be very complex. And that can be a very complex answer. So I'm going to pick the second one. It's more meaningful to me when someone says, I'm sorry about that. I feel truly awful about having disappointed you. Saying I'm sorry doesn't feel like it's enough. What more can I do or say to make this up to you? I don't know. I feel like this one's a little bit, it's not enormously, you're not trying to stretch it. I like the first one. It's a little simpler. And then the other one seemed a little robotic. So I ain't pick it. What is more meaningful to me? I'm confident that everything I've learned from this bad experience will prevent me from doing it again. I don't give a about you doing it again. I care about you doing it to me. So that was not gonna worry about that. Like, listen, I hope you learn less. All that's fine and dandy. But yeah, I want you to care about doing it to me. I don't even know if you'll never do it again. I'm not worried about that. I know what I did was inappropriate. No two ways about it. Of course, I'm about to pick that one because I don't even have no faith in that first one. Sorry. All right. So this is the results of my apology test, right? So the way I like to be apologized to is people to accept responsibility. So what does that mean? Okay. No, man, stop all that. I'm about to screenshot this. Don't worry. Okay, well, here we go. Let's say it is very difficult for some people to admit that they're wrong. It makes them doubt their self worth. That's why I'm careful about that enormously disappointed and stuff like that, right? And people internalize their mistakes so much, so they do take their mistakes as a statement of their value of self. But we don't want to necessarily do that. We just want to see them as what they are, mistakes, an opportunity for growth, healing, development, all of those things, right? Doo-doo-doo. And no one likes to be portrayed as a failure. However, as adults, we must all admit that we make and will make mistakes. We are going to make poor decisions that hurt our mates, and we're going to have to admit that we're wrong. We must accept the responsibilities for our own failures. For many individuals, all they want to hear is the words, I am wrong. If the apology neglects the responsibility for their actions, many partners will not feel as though the apology was meaningful and sincere. Many partners need to learn how to overcome their ego, right? That's that space where your spirit knows what to do, but your physical body won't allow you. That's that ego battle right there that we were trying to overcome. We're learning these tools to be able to fight, right? The desire to not be viewed as a failure and simply admit that their actions were wrong. For a mate who speaks this apology language, if an apology does not admit fault, it's not worth hearing. Being sincere in your apology means allowing yourself to be weak and admitting that you made mistakes. Though this may be hard to do for some people, it makes a world of difference for you and for a partner that speaks your language. So that would be my apology language, accept responsibility. And I like that. So the first two that I have to do for apologizing to myself is accept the responsibility, right? And that's the tough one because I'm human. And when applying these apologies to myself, like it's easier to say how you'd like someone else to apologize to you, right? And it's easy for me to say how I don't want anybody to feel as though they're beating themselves, like we're internalizing these mistakes. But when it's for yourself, it's a lot harder to do. So it winds up being like what parents like to say, do as I say, not as I do. But being able to accept, take accountability for your mistakes and then not internalize them as a reflection of who you are meant to be forever is a very difficult thing, right? So in accepting that and apologizing to myself, I'm going to have to accept responsibility. So don't mind this, family. This is me saving screenshots because I don't sign up. I'm a turd. See, this is easy. You use the tool, get the resources and knowledge that you need, and you move on and find some other resources and stuff. So this is a great tool to be able to learn how to apologize to yourself, right? Which is essentially the main person we want to forgive. All right, moving on. Like technology trying to embarrass me in front of friends. So now, make restitution. What does that mean? You know, some people, this is how we exercise our other tools to be able to see what other people may need to be able to be apologized to. curious if you put in the chat, what did you say if you took the test with you? What was your Toddy? What was your oh shoot, y'all listen. I forget that y'all can see this. I'm sharing my screen. What was your apology language? We at 8 o'clock now, family. So I do want to talk a little bit about I'll finish this up. So nah, I want to finish it next week. So that's what we're gonna do, family. We're gonna finish this thing next week. But I do want to talk about spend a little more time talking about my actual thing, accept responsibility. Because like I said, it is a difficult thing. So now how we were saying that this is the first tool that we're gonna use to event to forgive ourselves. So Toddy, I hope you was doing this so you learn the tool to forgive yourself too. And Liberty, I hope you was doing it, and the rest of the Facebook family and TikTok family and YouTube family and the rest of the soul family, period. I hope you did this because in this healing process, there are things that are decisions that we made that gave us consequences that we had to live with for a long time. And we carry those fears, those burdens, those concerns, all those things, especially if it was something that we didn't plan for. It was unseen, unforeseen circumstances that's connected to that trauma. So we carry those things around, right? And we do want to take that time major early in our healing process. We've talked about forgiveness so many times, but using this tool probably would have been beneficial to use earlier. But early in the process, you really want to start learning the tools of forgiveness so you can exercise them and practice those skills and those tools on yourself, because it's important to forgive yourself, right? So when you forgive yourself, that allows you to go out here and again be actively participating in your own life. It allows you to understand that peace is not the absence of conflict. It is not solitude. It is having the tools to navigate conflict, having the tools to navigate in and out of solitude. So forgiving ourselves is amazing, right? And how this ties into our emotional intelligence is through that sense of self-awareness, right? Because when I was having this conversation with the soul family, and there was a major sense of self-awareness when the question is asked, so how do I forgive? Is recognizing that there's an area of growth and development that you still need. There are some tools and perspectives or some sort of information that you need to be able to apply this word to your life. And what makes it even better is it shows up in the masculine and feminine balance. There's a way of forgiveness with masculine energy, and there's a way of forgiveness with the feminine energy. And for me, I would have to say the conversation was fantastic because her idea of forgiveness was coming from a feminine perspective of forgiveness. So when she asked me, what do I use for forgiveness? I gave her an idea of forgiveness from a male perspective. And it's tools and resources and information is how you forgive yourself. Knowledge is power, right? But then also in recognizing the feminine energy of forgiveness, it is also taking steps to make things better. It is connecting on an emotional level, being able to feel, empathize, and sympathize with the hurt that you may have caused, right? Not just connecting solely to your own hurt, but being able to recognize that your actions are within a larger frame of reference. And those actions in that larger frame of reference reverberates out to those in your circle around you. So they are also affected by that, right? So this week, I think it's been good so far. We will continue our conversation on emotional intelligence. We'll go a little deeper into the other aspects of apology language, which is make restitution, expressing regret, and plan change. Because all of these still make up your apology language. This just shows you which one you prioritize first. Because mine would be accept responsibility, then make make restitution. Do something. You know what I mean? Don't be requesting forgiveness. I don't need your credit. I don't need all that. I guess express regret is okay with all that. But we'll do a little bit more about our apology language because we'll be able to recognize how we forgive ourselves and the things that we need to do to forgive those around us, family. So I hope you've been having what's the day? Tuesday? It's Tuesday. All right. So I hope you have a great rest of your evening. I hope to catch you here on Thursday with Book Club where we will continue reading. I was about to do it again. Makes me want to holler by Nathan McCall. And if we don't see you next week, I mean Thursday, I hope to see you next week on Tuesday where we will, hey, that's good, continue our discussion on emotional intelligence. We've been on emotional intelligence, feel like a month, but we will continue talking about our apology language, right? I appreciate your time, family. I appreciate your love and plenty of gratitude. And thanks for being a part of this communal healing that we're doing with each other and for each other. From my soul to yours, family. Peace.